Every tire manufacturer recommends a break-in period for new tires. But why? We'll separate the facts from the myths in this video from the MC Garage. Take a look at the label on most new sets of tires, and you'll see a warning that suggests you should avoid sudden acceleration, maximum braking, and hard cornering for the first 100 miles. Those gentle initial miles you put on your new tires are known as the break-in period, and they're a good idea for a few reasons. The first and most important reason is to scuff up the tread to develop traction. There are plenty of examples of people spinning out and low-siding on new tires because fresh rubber tends to be a little bit slippery. It's not slippery because there's grease on the tread. That is a common misconception that I will get to later. New tires tend to be slippery because, for one, the rubber's cold, and two, the new tread is very smooth and slick. If you look at a used tire though, it's a landscape of peaks and valleys, kind of like sandpaper. That rough texture actually provides quite a bit of mechanical grip by interlocking with the rough surface of the road. And that rough finish on the tire can take quite a few miles to wear in. So, how far is far enough? It depends on the tires. If you've got a set of soft track tires like these Supercourses here and they are fresh off the warmers, they're ready to go after just one lap around the racetrack. Hot. Meanwhile, if you've got a set of heavy-duty touring tires like these Night Dragons, they may take 100 miles or more to break in. That's because this is a pretty hard tread compound, and that's because these tires are designed to last for thousands of miles. Most manufacturers recommend between 50 and 100 miles for tire break-in because that's how long they assume it will take you to hit enough corners to scuff in the majority of the tire tread. However, if you just tick off a distance in a straight line on the freeway and then bail into a corner expecting your tires to be broken in and gripping great, you're probably in for a crash. Tire break-in isn't just a matter of distance or time, it's the process by which you scuff in as much of the usable tire surface as possible. My recommendation for breaking in new tires is to simply find a twisty road and start riding. Go gently at first, but gradually increase speed and lean angle. Once you've got a dull finish across the tread like you see on this Rosso 3, you're good to go. Using sandpaper on a set of new tires in an attempt to break them in is something I've heard suggested. And while it's not exactly a bad idea, it is a waste of time. Tires are tough, and that sanding action isn't nearly enough force or friction to roughen up the surface the way riding on it will. Okay, so scrubbing in the tire surface is important for improving grip, but some folks still think that new tires are slick because they're slathered with something slippery from the factory. It's true, back in the day, manufacturers used to apply lube to help the tires pop out of the molds, but these days, that's just not the case, at least not for Pirelli and other upmarket brands. Nowadays, the molds are actually polished, or they have an anti-stick coating kind of like Teflon on a frying pan, so there's no lube needed. That sheen you see on new tires is just the way fresh rubber looks when it comes out of the mold. That said, release agents are occasionally smeared on the sidewall area of the molds to ensure that the script and logos are crisp and legible. But no mainstream tire manufacturer puts anything slippery on the tread area of the tire. The second reason to set aside some miles for break-in is to allow you, as a rider, to get used to the handling of your new rubber. Different makes and model of tire have different profiles and carcass constructions, and they're going to behave differently out on the road. But even if you installed a new set of the same tires you've been riding, they're going to feel different due to the fact that those old tires had a worn flat profile and the new tires have a round profile. The third reason to give your tires at least a few miles of break-in is to provide them with the opportunity to settle. This isn't really an issue with compliant radial tires, but some manufacturers say that the stiff bias ply rubber found on vintage bikes, cruisers, and some touring rigs needs some time for the bead to fully settle into the rim and for the various plies and materials in the carcass to settle out. It's arguably a topic for a separate video, but I can't talk about tire break-in and not talk about tire temperature. Tire grip is affected by texture, which is why we scrub in new tires, but temperature is an even more important ingredient in the grip equation, and it's a factor every time you ride. Those race tires I was talking about, they're ready to rip because they've been baking at 175 degrees on tire warmers and because they're made from super sticky rubber that's only meant to last for 20 laps. Your street tires are a lot less specialized, but it's still very important to give them time to heat up before you start riding hard, even if your tires are already broken in. Tires develop heat as a result of friction with the road and flex from load. And a good way to get them warmed up is with a few miles of riding that involves plenty of straight line acceleration and braking. All right, there you have it, the MC Garage breakdown on tire break-in. Hopefully that answered some questions and cleared up some misconceptions, but ultimately the takeaway here is that you should take it easy on those new tires. If you've got any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, and until next time, ride safe.